Hello, Wobbly Phil here. It's fair to say that sidecars have never been my thing. The thought of being in a chair on wheels, attached to a lunatic in charge of a powerful motorcycle, and my destiny doesn't exactly thrill me. But then, honestly, I can't even sit in the back of a car without feeling like I'm about to blow chunks. So I think it's fair to say the subject of this week's video fills me with horror and dread, appropriately enough, as it is
Halloween.
This futuristic three-wheeled nightmare, or dream depending on your point of view, which only came to my attention relatively recently, brought back all those memories of squealing around corners on two wheels at breakneck speed in the passenger seat of my friend Phil's three-wheeled Bond Bug back in the 1970s. Unlike the Bond Bug, however, the Krauser Domani, Domani being the Italian for tomorrow, is more like a completely integrated motorcycle and sidecar rather than two wheels at the back and one at the front, like the Bond Bug. The bit where the passenger sits is a structurally integral part of the tubular steel frame. That makes the chassis incredibly stiff and less prone to torsion forces than the traditional bike and chair setup. It also allows more integration of components within the aerodynamic fiberglass body, such as a radiator mounted in the sidecar for better airflow, hub center steering, and independent suspension. There's even a boot or trunk if you're that way inclined. But the beating heart of the Domani is BMW's superb 1200cc straight-four engine, outputting something like 150 ponies, powering this 390-kilo contraption to speeds allegedly around 200 kph. To my eyes, the machine looks faster than that, but the 200 km/h figure is confirmed by those who have ridden it. The combo's heritage stretches all the way back to the 1970s when Michael Krauser decided to take his fairings and luggage business to the next level by designing an entire motorcycle. Herr Krauser had been piloting BMWs on the race circuits in the 1950s, winning the German sidecar championships several times in the process. In 1972, he famously came up with the first removable bike panniers, initially for BMW but later for other manufacturers. I remember the utter revelation of removable plastic panniers which I experienced for the first time on my ZZR 1400. No longer did I have to carry my fresh socks and undies on my back during my trips to Europe. And most importantly, they remained dry. Wrinkly riders like me will recall that full plastic jackets on bikes became all the rage in the 1970s, and Herr Krauser began production with his first bike, the BMW R100-powered MKM 1000, in 1980. The tubular frame was apparently the first ever designed on a computer, and a specially designed 4-valve head was bunged on, boosting the bhp output from 60 to 72 in the process. Much of the bike bits were BMW, which were amazingly still covered by the BMW warranty. Something like 240 MKMs were produced between 1980 and 1982. The next step was to build on the success of Herr Krauser's racing sidecar business by coming up with a radical design that did away with the usual drawbacks of the motorcycle and sidecar combination. Initially with K1100 engines, they were uprated to K1200 RS engines later in their run. As with the MKM, Swiss racing sidecar specialists, LCR, were contracted for the frame or chassis design. Around 120 Domanis were made between 1988 and 2008, with the Japanese market being excited by them to such an extent that they were featured in an anime series. Most of the video clips I've used here have in fact come from Japan. It seems though that many sat in Japanese showrooms as halo bikes, a sort of come-on to draw in passers-by. There was even a rumour that Krauser stopped exports to Japan to prevent their machines being used as decorative baubles, but that Japanese importers got around that anyway by shipping them via New Zealand instead. The Domani was set up for territories where they mistakenly drive on the right and could not be converted to proper left-hand side of the road driving, and Japan, as we know, is a leftifarian country. After 2008, the trail goes cold. LCR still seem to be around if this 2024 Google Street View photo is anything to go by, but when it was taken it seemed to be a bit of a slow day at the office, and their website doesn't appear to have been updated for 13 years. I couldn't find any currently for sale or auction. This one popped up for sale on Instagram in May, but there's no mention of a price. With so few out there in the wild, I suspect getting hold of one is tricky and asking prices hefty. Herr Krauser passed away in 1991, so for his legacy to continue for a further 17 years in the fast-changing world of motorcycles, he must have got something right. This futuristic fusion stemming back to the 1980s really captured people's imaginations. If you own or have owned or ridden one, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please consider liking, subscribing, commenting and sharing to let YouTube know we're doing something right here at 3 Phils. Thank you.